Hello everybody, my name is Robert Eaton and I'm going to try to do a really quick 100,000 mile review on my Volkswagen 4 2021 rear wheel drive Pro S. And I bought this car in August, I believe, or September 1st or something around that area. I've had it for about 18 months or so, and I've just hit the 100,265 mile rate, and maybe this is the highest mileage ID.4 in the United States. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's probably up there. Maybe one of the top 10 highest mileage ID.4s in the world. So I'd like to share with you my experience about the ID.4. I have a 50,000 mile review in which I talk about my history with Volkswagen and all the Volkswagens I owned and stuff. I hope that you check that out. Give you a quick review. Basically, I've had a Rabbit, like 78 Rabbit or something, 85 or something Scirocco, somewhere around there, and like an 84, 85 GTI Golf, and I've had my first car was a 78 Super Beetle, and I've had three Sportwagen TDIs, a 2012, a 2013, 2014, one automatic and two manuals. All my other cars were manuals except for the Rabbit, ironically, that was an automatic. And I've had a Golf TDI 2012 and this one, and this is my 2021 ID.4. And you could take a look at like I said, there's more details the first video. I don't have a lot of time right now to go over all my history like I did the first video. So if you want to check it out, I do a lot of work with my ID.4. I've done Uber and Lyft. I didn't do Lyft with my ID.4. I did Uber. I used to be a full-time Uber driver. I had about 15,000 rides in 3 years and 2,000 deliveries. And unfortunately, some passenger tried to scam a free ride by saying I was driving underneath the influence. And Uber has a 3-ride cancellation fire policy. I was deactivated unfairly. I do have it wasn't right, but it doesn't matter. That's another video probably. And I mean, it doesn't matter. I was very sad and heartbroken. I was making about $2,000 to $3,000 a week doing that, but I worked a lot. And as good as my TDIs held up, the Volkswagen ID.4 that I bought, as I said in my 50,000 mile video when I was getting the flywheel repaired and stuff, has been a savior. But I only drove about 50,000 miles or something with Uber, and since then I've driven with UPS seasonal delivery, and I've done I was a Spark driver for Amazon, Walmart, and Amazon Fresh. I'm sorry, not Amazon Fresh. Amazon. I do Amazon Flex, not Amazon Fresh. Sorry about that. I'm tired. It's in the morning here. So I deliver a lot of stuff, and my family, I actually work. I wake up at 5 in the morning, and I go to work at 6, and I come home and I work until about 10 o'clock every night. So I work quite a bit. And I'd like to say thank you to Volkswagen for the ID.4. I used to be a teacher in China for 18 years. I lived in Eastern Germany for about 5 years, 6 years after the wall came down. Left America when I was 19 and came back when I was 43. So a lot of my skills are not really recognized, and I don't have an American degree or any degree, so all I have is experience. So for me, having the flexibility to stay with 2 of my kids that have autism and help them with their education. My wife also has some disabilities. It's a great, Volkswagen has done great to allow me to work unlimited hours without problems. I charge every night on a Grizzle E charger. Right now I'm at the EA charger. But I charge every night, fill up, leave with a full tank every day, and it's been great. And I do have a problem with my Grizzle E charger right now. Since the 3.1 update, I've been noticing that through the night, I would wake up the next day and the charge port would be red and it would only charge like 60%. And I'll talk about that later on. So I'm a little bit in a bad mood about that. Well, I'll talk about it right now. No, we'll talk about that later as I talk about charging. So let's do a quick review. I'm sorry to keep this so direct and so brief, but I'm working right now. I'm always working, and have to pay the piper. You know, I have about 30 after this car payment. I'll have just under $39,000, about $39,400 that I owe in the car. I bought it with about $1,000 down, and I had an 11.5% or something finance rate for about 7 months, and then I refinanced at the credit union where I have a 3.5% finance rate, and I hope I could have my car paid off in 3 years. And I'll talk about that later on. But let's go outside the front of the car, and we'll start at the beginning. Start at the front, and I'll go over every piece of the car. Sunny day. Okay, it's a little bit dirty right now. I do wax it. I use McGuire. I put about 6 or 7 coats on every time I wax it. In 100,000 miles, I don't have a single scratch on the car anywhere. Or I have one little door dent right here. Other than that, it's very tiny. I park away from people. I have no scratches on the paint, no nothing. I've always kept it waxed and polished. And I do it by hand. I don't use a machine, and just part of taking care of your car, you know. I did have my lights put a safety tint on top of it, whatever that's called, like a clear broad type thing, and it's really great. I might get a new one replaced. It's got dings in it. I really recommend everybody doing that with your ID.4 if you want to have it last. I did have a problem with something hit me in the road, and it broke my grill right here. And you got to keep an eye in there, because especially snow, wash it out, they get stirred in there. And talk about the sensors on the front. This design on the front has some drawbacks. When there's light snow, and the snow will come down here and it will cover the sensors. So it makes it unusable. Also, I wish the sensors were heated for the winter. In the wintertime, not having heated sensors is a huge pain in the ass. For some reason, the first year, every time I went through a car wash, I'd have sensor calibration issues, and that seems to have disappeared after about 80,000 miles. I don't get those hardly, but I don't go through car wash as much, and when I do, I go through a touch-free car wash. So the lights are fantastic. Uses storm lights all the time. I wish they would come on more. I wish they'd come on by themselves. Let's really quick go into the hood, to the bonnet, or underneath the. So as we come here, let me open this up real quick. I have sprayed it out myself a couple times, tried to keep it clean. Only a couple times, not too much. I live in the high desert, so looking inside here, I did have a problem with my windshield washer fluid reservoir sensor showing that I was low fluid, even though I filled it up. And I had that problem up until I did the update at like 97,000 miles. And after the software update, I lost the windshield washer sensor fluid issue. And I'm glad, because they were going to charge you a whole heck. You got to replace the whole reservoir. It wasn't cheap. I had a 12-volt battery problem at about 60,000 miles or so, 70,000 miles, somewhere in that area. I had a battery when it charged, eventually when it turned on. I went to the Volkswagen and I bought a new 12-volt battery from parts department, changed it myself, but I still had the 12-volt warning button on my dashboard, and they said to even though you change a battery, you have to have it recoded. But with the software update, they also change a battery and some stuff in there, and now it works. There's no warning lights at all. So that fixed that. But I haven't changed the brake fluid yet. I'll be doing that sometime. And coolant fluid. Ironically, there's no service interval to change this. So I'm sure that one day that has to be changed. And I've changed the air filters probably about 2 or 3 times. 3 times exactly, I imagine. But that's mainly because we had a lot of smoke seasons and fire seasons the first year I bought it. And I would get a foul smell. The last time I changed it, I put in 2 filters. 2 of the same filters. If you notice in China and Europe, they have 2 separate filters, and one of them's less porous, but in America it seems to be impossible to get the filter that goes into the top bay. So I just bought 2 regular filters, and I filled out both bays with them. And other than that, I've had a random, maybe twice I had random lighting issues, and those disappeared. I tapped on the housing, but I didn't really have any. Maybe happened 2 or 3 times random lighting issues. As far as the front goes, I don't have anything else to talk about. Windshield wiper fluid, windshield wipers. I kept my original wipers to. Excuse me, I got a cold right now. Hot weather cold, that sucks. I kept my windshield wipers originally to like 97,000 miles, and I changed them out. And I'm glad I did. They work great. And let me see if I can pause my video really quick here. Okay, so I changed out my windshield wipers, and they worked pretty good to 100,000 miles. The camera for the travel assist, it has an issue sometimes with the cold and the steam in there, and the cold, really super cold days. Clears itself out. I imagine it'd be nice to open it up and clean it out one day. That will be on the list of things to do. And what do I have? I have a complaint about when it snows. The wipers always block the snow right here. And if you're doing a lot of work and driving, you always have to clear this channel out of snow. And the wipers will hit it so much that you can't even get the arm to go all the way to the ledge here. And progressively that snow dam gets bigger and bigger. I think that's some kind of design flaw. It would sure be nice if this was a heated windshield. It uses, you have to turn on the defrost all the time. That would save a lot of battery with the heated windshield. I did put on these wind reflectors from Well Visors. They are awesome. They look good. And more importantly, they allow me to crack my window without the wind going in. And also, it keeps the rain from coming here, when the water coming here that would go all over the window. This stops that from happening. It's a great improvement. And happy with the mirrors. The newer versions do not have the folding mirrors. Great way to tell when your car was locked. Aside from the super loud horn that used to be to let you know you locked the car. Now they've replaced it with a quieter horn. I got used to it, actually. I got used to the loud horn. The heated mirrors are still working great. I do use rubbing compound occasionally on the glass to get the water spots off. The first thing I did when I bought the car, if I told everybody, is I put a clear ceramic tint on the top. Ceramic tint, barely more than the sides on the bottom. Really helped get rid of the heat problem. And I talked about that in the first video. If you haven't ceramic tinted your cars, then it's like a greenhouse in there. Sticking to the front, talk about wheel wells. In the snow, I switched my tires over to Vergstein's. Let's talk about tires first. I've gone through, this is probably my 3rd set of Bridgestone Alinzas AS Ultras, I believe. I don't know if it's my first set. Maybe my first set. No, maybe my 2nd set. 2nd set of Alinza Ultras. The first OEM tires that came with the car were complete trash. My wheels are dirty. They're not marked up. That's just dirt on them. Sorry. To get a chance to clean it before I did the video. But anyways, the first generation OEM and lenses only lasted like 18,000 or 21,000 miles of complete trash. I throw them away. I replaced them with Volkswagen VREDSTEIN Contract Pros, and they're four peak all weathers, not all seasons. And in the snow, this is a very heavy car. I grew up in Colorado driving cars in the snow, and this rear wheel drive is much more difficult to drive in the snow than well, actually it's not as difficult as you would think. But the problem with this car is driving in the snow, it's very, very heavy. And the momentum could work against you if you're sliding. I mean, if you're going up a steep incline, that heavy weight in the snow, even with good tires, makes it very, very dangerous. And you have to be very careful. I do drive in the snow. We had terrible snow here. I made it through, but it was iffy sometimes. You need the best tires you could get. And for me, the Volkswagen Contract Pros, I got about 21,000 miles out of them, and they're as good as dedicated snow tires. I buy a pair every snow season, but they don't wear out as fast as snow tires, and they're 4-peak tires, and they're great. I'd recommend them. I've bought 2 sets of those since I've owned them, and so that's what I run in the winter. In the summer, now these are Bridgestone Alenza AS Ultra. Very different than the Bridgestone lenses, so you get OEM. The OEM, I don't even think they should be called the same name. These have an 80,000 mile warranty on them. Since they're staggered tires, you get 40,000 miles of that warranty. They by far last longer than the other tires I had. I tried to get the highest mileage tire I could get. They work great they work great. I have no problems with them. Fantastic with flats and stuff. I don't get that many flats. Now a big problem I have with the car is when the snow gets into the wheel wells, and it gets in the wheel wells so bad that you rub them. I did have to replace my right rear wheel well tire liner. I'm sorry, it ripped it out, so I have to come with a bar and get the snow out. I put on the factory. I had the OEM factory mud flaps put on. I'm starting to think that the factory mud flaps are keeping the snow in there. I'm debating on whether taking them off for next winter. I don't know if that's a design flaw or what, but that snow gets in there and it gets packed in there, and it'll rip out your fender liner. It's a pain in the ass to get the snow out. I have to say I hate that about the car. Next, what else can we talk about on the front? The brakes, according to Volkswagen, I still have 10 millimeters of brake lining. Haven't had to service the brakes. So hey, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. This plastic trim when you're waxing your car, man, if you get wax on it, like here I got a little bit I didn't take off yet, it could stay on there forever, and it pissed me off. I was wondering, how am I going to do it? I actually thought about changing the plastic panels because I had wax that I couldn't get off, and I bought all the nice wax remover solvents for trim, and it didn't work. And then I saw a YouTube video, and let me help you, everybody. If you want to remove wax from your black trim, use an eraser. An eraser will take off the wax. That is unbelievable. I just found that out a couple weeks ago, and it was such a joy to take off the wax that was stuck on there. As we go on the outside, I put on these guards on the door. I think it helps it looks a little bit better, but helps stand out. One thing that, as we open up the doors now, you know, there is a lot of road dirt that gets built up in here, and in the winter, nothing takes it away from the car so much as using the heater. I believe they could have insulated the car better, and you could, if there was not any dirt in the door jambs, that means there probably wouldn't be as much air getting in there. I mean, I have to wash and polish my door jambs. From all the cars I've ever had, I've never had door jambs get dirty like that. As we go in the front, I put on some guards on the doors, keeps them getting scuffed up. I'd recommend them. I got some carbon fiber inlay off of eBay or somewhere. I hate the panel. It works great. I got one for right here. I used to have one right here, but I took that stuff off. It's really great. The plastic's very soft. Here's where I keep one of my guns, and you can see that it scratches up. I had to put some duct tape in there to keep the gun from scratching up the door. Yeah, I don't like the way this plastic. It shows a little bit of wear. Here from just getting in and out of the car. This plastic is easy to beat up. I wish they had something more durable where people get in and out of the car, maybe a stainless steel or something, who knows. I'm not an engineer, but that's kind of sucks. But overall, the interior of the car, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10 as far as condition goes. My floor liner is a little bit dirty, the Mud Buddy. I got the Mud Buddy, as I mentioned last video. The Mud Buddy did not fit the back good. It curled up around the edges. You see where it's curling? It curled really bad. I had to cut the edges that curled. Aside from that, it's good to have the car protected. I've got the Volkswagen seat back covers. I have the Volkswagen cover I've had on ever since I don't have a single rip or tear in any of the seats. You can see some seatbelt action here, scratches here. Sorry, my car's a little bit dirty right now. I got the inlays back here. I have a problem with my rear locks. All the time my child lock goes on, even when I don't want it to go on. And often it's click, 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 click to let the people out of the back. Kind of annoys family members. And so let's see here as we get into the car here. Am I going to go on the inside yet? Let's do all the outside first. Clearance has been good in the snow. I've thought about, I wish that I had progressive springs maybe, like on the towing that were offered on towing sport wagons and stuff in Europe. I always put progressive springs on because I really wanted to put a tow hitch on here, and I wanted to be able to put stuff. Oh, there's my easy open going off. That works really well. I want to put a tow hitch on the back, and I wanted to load up some racks there to put some equipment. I didn't want it to sag. I mean, it doesn't sag as it is. It's been great. The suspension over the life of the car, it does feel soft, but this is a huge, heavy car. It's always felt kind of like it's floating a little bit. I don't need that much clearance more. I haven't took it off road and put KO2s or anything on there. But for some family trips, what I like to do, I thought about maybe before the free charging runs out, go around the northern, eastern, and southern border with my family and put some of our equipment in a tow hitch back there. That'll be another video. But so far, the suspension still feels good after 100,000 miles. And I can't complain about that. Haven't been any rims or anything like that. Haven't had a little tiny bit of rash on one of the tires, but not that bad. This plastic trim, a little bit of scratches on it. It's just easy to show marks. I wish that they would have done something more durable than that bumper cover that they put on there. Also, you know, there gets to be a lot of dirt in these gems. I have to clean this out regularly. I have the ceramic tin on the back, and the rear window, I wish the defrost would stay on longer in the winter, because it stays on for a little bit and then turns it off. I wish you had the option to leave it on until you decide to turn it off. I know it's for battery saving, so I understand that. Occasionally my hitch, if I do the easy open, it won't open all the way. Like maybe 2 out of 25 times of opening it up, and I open it and shut it multiple times a day, it will need to be pushed and it'll come up. Sometimes I'll open it up and I'll hear a slight beep, 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 and it will close itself. So I don't know why it does that. That happens about once every 30 times, 40 times. Weird to have it close by itself. As far as I've got a Muddy Buddy liner. Oh man, I've filled this car up. This car can hold so many capacities. I wish I could show you pictures of all the packages I got in there. You wouldn't believe what this car could hold. It is an excellent car for work. This is my workhorse, actually. I haven't any problem with any of the lighting in the back or anything like that. I did have a little bit of a problem with the creaks in the winter. To do that, I try to play with turning this left and right to extend how the firmness of the door. So I do, in the winter time, I did hear some creaking problems not a huge deal, but it was a little bit to bother me. And aside from that, we'll go in the back seat. That can get scratched up a little bit easy in the center. No complaints. Seatbelts return as they should. Occasionally, like I said, occasionally we have problems with being able to unlock the rear doors, or get out with the rear doors, which I guess other people have talked about, right? I fit 3 burly firemen in the back. I fit my wife, my kids, my dogs. I'm at work right now, so I'm often have this down like this. Fantastic. For all the people that don't know, to take these off, you got to push this one and this one here, and you pull these off to put the seat cover on. I'd recommend it. It's been real great. Seats. Seat is one of the few problems I've had. Oh my God, it's really dirty to tear my seat cushion. I got to vacuum it. Well, I'll be honest with you. It's normally not so dirty. You can see the imprintation of my rear end here. The foam is very thin. If you're in it, and it'll adapt to your body here. But the problem is it's not very thick. I use this cushion here, not just for height, but for comfort. And it's a great help. I had my lumbar adjuster massager broke. The top half broke about 45,000 miles. And it was in a very uncomfortable position jutting out right here. And I drove with that until about 95,000 miles or so, until I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to sleep on the floor because it was destroying my back. And it cost me like $1,400 to get the seat opened up and get that replaced. That was one of the big issues I had on it. Other than that, the material's holding up well. I don't have any rips or tears or anything. I'm sorry, my car's a little bit dirty. I work a super lot lately, and when I was driving people, my car was spotless. But now I'm doing cargo. It's not so spotless as I would like all the time because I'm too busy. But anyhow, so that was one of the huge problems. I have the OBDB sensor in there. You can buy that off of I have this one here. I have let's pause the video, see what kind I got. It's Bluetooth. You check your battery degradation. So now I'm going to get in here. Now, let's talk about the inside of the car. I do not have easy access. We'll talk about everything. Let's start at the beginning here. As I mentioned earlier, it's not very good, especially for short people. I'm 5'6". This pillar right here in the left corner doesn't give you sight of the road very well. I always put my seat up. It's really helpful for me to have the cushion. Sometimes I drive without the cushion, and I lose a little bit of visibility because of it. Seems like it's the only Volkswagen car I've ever gone in that's had that problem. I don't think they really use their traditional engineering to think about view space and stuff like that like they have in the past. I do rely on my sensors, parking sensors, all the time, because I always misjudge how close I am. I'm generally about a foot farther back than what I think I am, so I use my parking sensors all the time. I have these telescoping phone mounts, which are super sturdy and durable. It's the best place I can find to put 2 phones, because I always use 2 phones when I'm working. In fact, I'll get a Samsung Fold phone later on. Unit in R800 or something, whatever that is. It's great metal detector. I will close my very hot sunroof right now. Sorry for all the Tesla people. I've had no problem with my sunshade opening and closing the past 100,000 miles. And if you hear a funny sound when you're driving, make sure your visor's shut, because that will make a noise and drive you crazy if you forget to push it in there all the way. As far as the front, as I talked about before, I wish that the defrost would stay on. I wish that we could leave the sport lights on a lot more. I do have the update. I love the update. The update works very better than before. I love seeing my since charge data and stuff like that. As you can see, I'm charging to 80. I've charged into 80% since I bought the car. I've probably charged this car, if I could pull it up here. I've charged my car. Let me look here. I don't know why, and I don't like that about Android Auto, how it plays every time it gets a connection, sometimes automatically. Even if you adjust the settings, it will still play automatically. My charger history for my car is right now at oh my god, stop the music. Oh, it'll take a long time to show you charging history. In fact, it won't even show you at all sometimes. So I'll let that load up. I've charged about 4,500, probably about 33% of my charges have been on a public charger, and I've always charged to 90% as I am right now. And I put my my OBDB stats onto the ID.4 forum. You can check them out. I did that like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 miles ago. I think I have like 8 to 12% degradation. I will charge 90%. I'll get about 220 or so, 230. Depends on the weather. On the weather, I get a huge hit. In the winter time, my mileage drops between 160 and 180, depending on how cold it is. I'm talking about mine. Like I try. It gets around 10 degrees a lot here, 20 degrees a lot, 25 degrees. Occasionally colder. I used to drive in B mode a lot, and over the past 6,000 miles, or last maybe 7,000 miles, I've been really switching back up to D. And wow, that's great. I didn't really think I liked D mode before, but I'm starting to like it and get a little bit more mileage out of it. I can't tell you how much. Like here's a all-wheel drive pulling out. I can't tell you about how great it is to have a solid turning radius in the city. And the work I do, I don't know if there's any other car in the world that's got as great of a turning radius as the ID.4. And the extra range works great. As you can see, my charger up there, I forgot to tell you, I did have a problem. Well, I'll go outside and tell you about the charger port problem. I had my charger release fixed. In fact, I'll go out there right now and show you. So, at about 94,000 miles, the charger release port. The first winter was fine. The second winter, this would stop ejecting in the cold weather. The first winter was fine, and then eventually this tab broke off, and I was taping it. I had to replace the whole port, and that was not cheap. I'll tell you, with the steering wheel, which I'm getting ready to tell you about, I spent about $3,500, and this is a new charging port. Other than that, I haven't had any issues with it. And let's go back to the back side. So, huge problem. I mentioned it before. Well, I don't know. I did mention it before. So on my steering wheel, I would have parts of my steering wheel that would